Welcome. We are now in Priest in the Lightforge tier list arena numbers review reveal
Nailed it.
numbers. Things are happening, man.
Woo!
Things are happening. It's getting late. We're doing this, and Priest is happening. And one of the things with Priest is they are getting interesting cards, and we thought they had a really freaking good card that they were getting, but it turns out it's not so good. So we're gonna take something back that we said on the Lightforge, which is that Free from Amber was an amazing card. And you can see we have a rated 153 here. That's wrong. It was a 153 because we didn't actually look at the cards that it could pull out.
We looked. It was. I'm not going to explain all of the mistakes here, but mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were definitely made.
So what is the score now?
The score now is like slightly above average. It dropped a lot.
It dropped a lot.
When you look at when you look at first of all, there's no like class cards that's 8 mana or above for Priest.
Yep.
It doesn't exist in terms of minions, so you don't get any of those. And on top of that, just a lot of the cards are not all that good. You get a lot of 8/8s, which are fine. You get a lot of really subpar cards, and you have very few like game-winning cards. You have not like Nazoth, but like Yasiraj, I think, which is really good, right?
Yeah.
That's game-winning. You have Ysera, which is game-winning, and that's kind of it. And you have 30 choices, so you're only going to get those like 1/5 of the time. And after that, you just get a lot of potentially overstated cards, but also potentially not overstated. And just the chance of you being offered 3 cards, none of which are overstated, is actually quite high. And then you're just playing 8 mana 8/8, which again is not the worst thing in the world, but it's not premium. Like the chance that you're playing an 8 mana 8/8 makes it not premium on top of the RNG that it already suffers from.
Your upside is a coined out Ysera, right? Which is great. That's really good. But still, that you're also facing something significantly understated potentially, or just something that you should get for the mana cost, which is not good.
And people are bringing up Ultrasaur. Ultrasaur is not game winning if you get it from Free from Amber.
No.
You've saved 2 mana on what is a very normally like mana card, right? It's not like Ultrasaur is a great card.
Yep.
So you've really only saved like 1 mana, the way I think about it, if you were going to value a card at 153. So it's not like a good win. It's a win, but it's a pretty small win.
Anyways, so we sort of already talked about the first card from Priest, and you know it is not going to be as high as like a 150. It is just like average, slightly above average, right? Anyways, well, we don't have the exact score here on the list, but we can certainly talk about the next card, which, my gosh, is really good. Also, they need to kind of stop printing cards like this. I feel because, you know, they can just do it with all the other classes as well, right? Anyways, enough gripe. Crystalline Oracle, 1 mana for a 1/1 elemental. I don't know, priest elementals, who knows? With Death Rattle, copy a card from your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. Pretty good. We see this effect on Shifting Shade, right? And it just sort of follows the trend of like a 1 mana 1/1 that gives you another card randomly, right? Swashbuckler, Babbling Book, those things all do a little bit differently, you know, whether they draw from your class or your from your opponent's deck and whatever. But very, very good card. Like a premium card. This is a 147.
Yep. That seems about right. We're going to go to the next card, which is not terribly exciting. It's a Radiant Elemental. So Priest and Mage are getting a little similar here. It is an Elemental, but it's a 2/3 Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah. It's a 2/3. And it's also an elemental.
Yeah.
Right.
But a 3/2 is much better than a 2/3, and it's a priest, so your 2/3s are even worse than in other classes. This is not really what you want to be doing. But hey, they tried to make a priest 2-drop that wasn't totally unplayable, and they succeeded, I think. So this is gonna get a pretty high value mostly because of the fact that it is an elemental and it is a low costing elemental, and those are like very important.
Right. So this thing comes in at 129. As you can see, sort of like Nesting Rock, which is the 5 mana 4/7, is only slightly higher than this, but once again, it is, this thing comes out earlier. It is an elemental, and priest is not an elemental class, but the elemental still matters. You can certainly play earlier, and it decreases your spells. So it just does a little bit of everything, and it gets you on the board. All right, what is the next one?
It's a blinding heal. I love this card.
What? You mean binding heal?
Oh, it does say binding heal.
You're the one that's blinded.
I am blinded by the prospect of using it. The joy that I will have.
Anyways, binding heal. It is a 1 mana spell that restores 5 health to a minion and your hero. The value, you can heal up to 10. That's crazy. It's actually not bad. We have it at 113, right? That's quite a lot of heal. And the heal to your face is sometimes, it's not nothing. We do say in the arena,
it's not nothing.
A lot of times you should leverage your health for value, and lots of times your face damage doesn't matter, but there are games in which it matters. So this comes in at like about average, slightly above average, because it can be a really extreme tempo play.
Yeah. Healing 5 health to a minion is pretty good, and healing health is very important. And worst comes to worst, you heal a full health minion just to get 5 health on your face, which is not a great use of the card, but its flexibility is really what makes it, right? And as the priest, you really need a card like this, because you oftentimes can't keep healing up all your minions with your hero power. And most importantly, your opponents can build in your hero power in their calculations. They can't build in the binding heal.
Yep. The next card, same exact score at a 113. You want to take it?
It's a 4 mana 2/6. It's a Tortolan Shellraiser. It's so crazy to me that like the turtle race is not a beast. Like, because we actually have a turtle that is a beast, but it's not like the turtle race.
Well, no. These are turtle people.
Okay,
they're not
so
beasts anymore.
It's like if we had a panda card and then we have Pandarians. Like, it's just confusing.
Right. It's basically it.
Just saying. Okay, so it's a 4 mana 2/6 taunt. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion 1/1. It's a 113. You can draft it, you play it, it's fine, right? Like, the Death Rattle sometimes triggers, it sometimes doesn't, depending on what your other cards are. +1/+1 is not the end of the world for your opponent, even if you do trigger it. It's just...
So this is something I'm surprised is not like higher. Like, it seems fair, like quite good.
It's a 2/6 taunt. A Stegosaur or whatever is a 100. This gets 13 points for a Death Rattle that gives random friendly minion +1/+1.
Okay.
It doesn't trigger. You need another minion for it to trigger.
Right. No, that makes sense when you put it next to the Stegodon or whatever. Yeah. So it's good. It is above average.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyways, what is next?
Mirage Caller.
We have Mirage Caller. It is a 3 mana 2/3 minion with Battlecry. Choose a friendly minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. So, if you have another minion, at worst it's a Razorfen Hunter, which is not that great.
Okay. So I want to warn you right now because I just realized that. So this is incorrectly inputted. It's not this high. It's like lower.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, this is interesting.
No. Anyways. This is lower. This is you keep describing the card and why it's bad, and I will lower the score.
Great. I will say how it's bad, and we're going to lower it on the spot. This is good. This is good to be live. Love it. So this card, you need another friendly minion in order to just make it into a Razorfen Hunter. And in order to get the super value out of it, you need something with like a Death Rattle, right? You need this to hit on your Crystalline Oracle. You need this to hit on some other Death Rattle thing, or something with just a good effect in order to get that bonus. But if you don't have anything, well, it's a 3 mana 2/3, and that's pretty bad. And priests already have a pretty tough time sort of getting onto the board, and this certainly does not help. So
it's going to be about 11 points less.
Yeah.
So it's going to end up being like a 95.
You can copy a snail with this, though. Snail value. I mean, if you can copy a snail with this, it's amazing. God. You just have snails, and then you have smaller snails, and you copy those snails. Just everything with the snails, man.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, like you can get value out of it, but it's not guaranteed. The worst part about it is that you can't guarantee to actually use it as a curb card.
Yep.
And is that the last card?
I believe it is.
Oh, okay. So we've dealt with all the priest cards. As you can see, they're pretty normal and boring. There's nothing really happening with the priest in this expansion, which is great because too many things happened with the priest in the last expansion. So let's go to the epics and then do the legendary to finish it off, and then we could talk about where priest is, because priest is coming into this from a different place than shaman and mage, right? Like shaman and mage are doing well in the meta, and they're like spellcasters, and they're getting a little control, and what the cards that they got in Ungoro kind of added to that. But priest is not in the same place. Priest is in a weird place right now. Curious Glimmer Root is the first epic card. It is a 1/16. It's a Yeti. It's a 3-mana 3/3 battle cry. Look at 3 cards. Guess which one started in your opponent's deck to get a copy of it. So it's at worst 1/3 chance, but it's really significantly higher because there are some cards your opponent just won't take.
Yeah, but this is Arena. Like
still.
No, still. Yeah, true. But so this is one in which I look at it in constructed. I'm just like,
broken.
Right. I'm like, you because it's gonna. The other two choices are definitely cards that are not in your opponent's deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has to be.
Yep.
And it's not gonna it's not smart about it. It's just gonna pick random cards. So it's gonna you play this against a rogue, and one of the options is gonna be like head crack. You're gonna be like, okay, no,
no, not a head crack.
Right, no, it's not a head crack. If you did pick a head crack, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances here.
Look at your opponent's deck. Snipe. Nope, not a snipe. Not in the arena.
Oh gosh, that's terrible. But I love it because in the arena, you're not sure, right? It's like, so you're gonna look and it's gonna be like Bog Creeper, Weasel Tunneler, and like the Ancient Watcher, right? You're gonna be like, oh, Bog Creeper, and you're like, wrong. Like, what?
Yep.
What? Which is fine because I mean, it's not like you want the Weasel Tunneler anyways, really. But still, it's going to create moments like that. And that's why I love this card. I think it's fantastic. It's got a score of 116, but I definitely, I think I want to pick this higher, man. Yep.
And the next card is Shadow Visions. Discover a copy of a spell in your deck. It's a little overcosted, because it's 2 mana to discover a copy of a spell in your deck, but like on the bright side, you probably only have a few spells. Like, you are a priest, you can have some spells, but it's not that many. And the discover effect makes it almost certain that you're going to get a good spell, because you get to pick your good ones, like a Shadow of Death or a Mind Control, whatever you need, right? Like, you're going to get it. The problem is you did just spend 2 mana.
Right. It does help you find an answer, and sometimes you just really need it. Like, if you really need a Shadow of Death and you Shadow Vision into it, you play an Assassinate. Whatever. Yep. But, I mean, like, you did pay the mana, you did have... So, it is not great, and that's why, like, the score is what it is. It's a 105.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can, like, Shadow Visions into high-value cards you just don't want, Like...
Yeah.
Potion of Madness is great, but sometimes you're in a situation where you're like, I don't want this card. This card is like situational, and I need a bigger effect than this 1 mana card. So yeah, it's a great card you have in your deck, but you don't want it, and your other two may be like that flash heal thing that comes, and you can't use that without a board, and then like, I don't know, Power Word Shield or something, right? Where you're like, this is fine, but I don't have a board, it's not the best. And I just spent 2 mana, so I'm even farther behind. Like, there are issues with this card. So it's only a 105. I think you can definitely get some value out of it, but it's situational.
Yep.
And finally, the legendary is Lyra, the Sun Shard, which is a 164, which is up there, that's Kazakus level almost. And that's because it's a 5 mana, only 5 mana, 3/5 elemental that says whenever you cast a spell, add a random priest spell to your hand.
Now, I know the constructed players were very underwhelmed by this, but this is a pretty good arena card.
Yeah. You get to chain spells. Remember how good Antonidas is? That's like 7 mana.
I mean, there's a reason Antonitis is very good. You also get Fireball, so you know what spells you're gonna get. But this is still very good. Like you get
Antonitis is a 179. This is a 164. You know, it's not
right, right.
Antonitis.
It's not Antonitis, but you know, it gains something for being able to for being a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, Antonitis is better because fireballs are amazing. And you get more fireballs.
You
We're
know
not
what the
saying it is
worst part would
Antonitis.
be?
What?
If you're trying to chain things and you have no other minions, and you get a Purify.
Oh,
You will be
that's
so
sad.
sad.
That's so sad. I mean, the dream is like powered shield, powered shield, powered shield, powered shield.
Right.
Oh, that would be the saddest thing,
Mm-hmm.
man. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So, that's that. This is Priest. How is Priest in 7.1? And what will happen to it in Ungoro? Because this looks very much not like MSG.
Yeah. So, Dragon Priest is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, you still have Dragon Fire Potion, but Dragon Priest is gone, and I don't really know what you do with Priest. They've gotten to a point where, like, yeah, they still have a lot of their sort of core cards, and they've introduced sort of like new core cards that play into the typical Priest game plan, like Cabal Talon Priest. I don't know how you really win as Priest now because a lot of the cards that were taken away, like they weakened like Draconid Operative so much,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Draconid Operative was a huge win condition for so many priests in the 7.1. And then because you had so many dragons, that made Dragon Fire a lot better as well. And it just everything worked so that you could create a very powerful AoE dragon priest deck. And these new cards that have come in, they're good. Like Crystalline Oracle is quite good. Binding Heal is fine, but Priest is not in a it's not in a great spot right now.
No. So, what's happening with Priest is that you're in a threat and response meta, and you haven't gotten any threats added. And you
No,
haven't gotten any responses added.
no.
You just got some, like, normal cards that you can fill your deck with and feel okay about it with. It's not a winning formula. So Priest is actually going to be, I think, significantly hurt by this meta. On the bright side, there are a lot of taunts, which is good for Priest, and there is going to be a lot of on the board play because there's a taunt focused meta. So Priest will be able to more frequently, like, you know, be able to buff their things or whatever. And most of the damage dealing that's coming in is 2 damage, right? And that's not something Priest is afraid of, because Priest plays high health minions. So Priest is really going to push the opponents to just let it leave something on the board, and then it will try to heal it. Like, Priest is going tempo.
Yeah.
It got the 2
So
drop.
weird.
It got, like, we're not talking aggro. We're not
No, no,
talking,
no, no,
like,
no.
you know, it's going to push face or anything like that. But it's just going to keep putting, like, high health statted minions onto the board. And it's going to, like, try to punish you if you ever try to fight a minion on minion. And it's going to, like, starve you out of your spells. It's going to put out non-threatening threats. And it's going to make the non-threatening threats threatening if you leave it alone. That's what Priest is going to do. And it really fits with what the Priest does. Because keep in mind, it still has powerful stuff, right? Mind Control, Shadow Word Death, Dragonfire Potion, Potion of Madness. Like, these cards didn't go away. Holy Nova or whatever. Temple Enforcers. Your Cabal Talon Priest, your Northshire Cleric. You still don't want the Priest to get a board. But you're going to have a little bit of a harder time to get the Priest off the board. Even as Priest loses a lot of its, like, high-value cards, right? Like, it loses its combo cards, it loses its threats, but it hasn't lost that many answers, and it has gained a lot more tempo.
Yep.
So it's going to be a very different Priest that comes in, and it's hard to say whether it's going to be that good or not, but I think it's safe to say that it's going to be a backward step in terms of the power of Priest, which is good, because you never want a powerful Priest in the arena. That's
No,
always...
we had a powerful Priest in the arena, and I hated the arena.
Yeah.
Like,
We said that even when Priest was weak. We're like, you want to buff the class because it can't be that bad, but, like, you don't want to actually make it good. And the problem with 7.1 is it actually made Priest good. Because when you make Priest good, Priest being a class that has a very low skill cap, you're just basically making good players worse. And you're making, like, Priest players more RNG focused, which they always are. But, like, you look at... I remember when Dr. Stein compiled a list of, like, you know, what arena streamers were playing and their win rates. And everyone, like, sucked with Priest, and it was, like, the worst win rate. And then, like, Hearth Arena released, like, the win rates of, like, average players. And it's, like, number 3.
Yeah,
Because
it
that's
was
what Priest do.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good summary of what the Priest is and what it will always be unless they totally redesign it.
Right.
So,
well, like, Potion of Madness is sort of
too big of a punish.
It's too big of a swing. And Potion of Madness is also kind of idiot proof, right?
Yes.
Dragonfire Potion is also idiot proof. I'm not saying, like, if you, like, I don't want to call people idiots. I am calling them idiots right now, aren't I? All right, never mind.
It's just it's easy to play class, right? It's an easy to play class. It's an easy to draft for a class. And it's not to say you can't do cool things with Priest, but the effect on whether you win or not is very small when you do those cool Priest plays that are actually really advanced and really difficult to pull off. Compared to, like, let's say Druid, which I always say is one of the highest skill classes because it's just pure fundamentals. You win and lose by these little tiny margins of when you decide to do stuff every single turn. Because you have nothing as Druid. You have nothing. You need to create your own, like, skill, luck, whatever as Druid. As the Priest, you're relying on your draft. You're relying on what your opponent can do to you. And if your opponent can't do enough to you, you win. If you have a really good draft, you win.
It's so weird because historically, Priest has been a very high skill class in Constructed.
Yes.
Right? Because it's very awkward and you have to sort of use your tools in the best way possible. But in Arena, and we're saying when it's powerful and it has all these AoEs and stupid Potion of Madness, it really is just the swings are too ridiculous.
And they're not up to you.
Yeah.
They're just up to whatever's happening.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's Priest. Okay, so